Hi, it's Grandma Roseanne, and before I get into the video, I wanted to explain a little bit of what happened with the volume. I'm not, I want to explain it, but I really don't know what happened. It went up and it went down and it went up and it went down, but only for the very, very beginning. After that, as soon as we got to the really important parts, which was the ingredients and all of that, it was perfectly fine. So just bear with me in the first couple of minutes and you will make the best candy apples ever. Hi, it's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to make caramel apples today. I love them, and I think they just speak of autumn to me. I really enjoy them, and they're really pretty easy. So what I have done, now, let me explain that. They're easy if you buy Kraft Caramels. They're not so easy if you make the caramel. Well, I'm going for easy, so we bought the caramels. So in my pan here, I have 50 of these. Now I trust Kraft. I think they're a wonderful product. And when they tell me if I want to take those little wrappers off, to just put them in the freezer for 15 minutes and then they just fall off. So do not bother to do that. It is not true. So what we had to do, the hardest part of making the taffy apples, honestly, is getting that little cellophane off. So we want to put this just on a medium heat. And to this, I'm going to add 1/8 of a cup of water, and that is it. And then we're going to want to stir this, get them all kind of coated, just like that. And what I have already done, and you need to do, is you have to prepare your apples. So what the apples I've gotten here, you can use a Honeycrisp, you can use a Granny Smith, you can use any kind of a good tart apple, but I don't know if you guys have ever had an Envy. Oh, they put a Honeycrisp to shame. I love them so much. They're a very tart, very juicy, very, very crisp apple. Now, they always, on all of the apples, they put a wax coating on them because they want them to look all sparkly and good on your produce shelf. So you want to get that off. So wash it really good, get all the wax off of it, dry them really well. Be sure you remove the stem, and then get your little skewers, whatever it is you're using. I'm using a skewer, but if you want to use a popsicle stick, you can use that as well. Whatever you want. Just get it in there nice and firmly. And we will commence to melting. Many years ago, we owned a restaurant. It was a very large restaurant, very large. It sat 300 people and it was huge. It was a lot of work. And no, I did not cook. I did not even know how to cook back in those days. And one of the orchard owners came to my husband and I because we had the facility, and he asked if we would make the candy apples for his fall season. He had just bought the orchard. He was a friend of ours, and we said sure. And he said to me, because I was the one that committed to doing it, he said, I'll pay you, how about 10 cents an apple? He was providing everything. I said, that was fine. I had no idea what happens to an orchard that they come in and pick their own apples. I had no idea what happened at the peak season. In one day, we would be making 1,200 apples. 1,200 apples. Our restaurant was really large, and on every table, and I don't know where the pictures are now, but we had pictures on every table across that entire restaurant were all those carameled apples. At the end of the season, he came and he gave me one lump check, which was very, very nice. And he said, this worked out really well, because he dropped off the product and we dropped off the finished product. He said, so next year we should probably start a little earlier. And I said, oh, there will never be a next year. I worked so hard on those darn apples, and we never did it again. But it was a good experience, and it's a nice story to tell you. All right, so we are just melting down here. Now the temperature that you're looking for is 160 to 180. I know that's quite a range, but That's what it calls for. So if you have a thermometer, it's a good time to use it. If you just need to eyeball it, it's probably still going to be just fine, just a little riskier. If it undercooks, if it's not warm enough, it's not going to adhere to the apple. And if it is too hard, if you've cooked it too long, then you're not going to be able to dip the apple. So let me see where I am. I'm right there. All righty. This is wonderful. It just took a couple of minutes, you guys. All right. Now I have already prepared this. This is parchment paper that I put down and I buttered it. And then I have my apples all ready. So now we're just going to dip. Just like that. And you want it to drip off. And the second one. Just thinking back to the story I told you, by the end of the season, I had holes in my hands from pushing those things down. It was terrible. Now, 1 minute. This little guy didn't get his fair share on the top. So, I'm just going to do that. Because from my perspective, you can't have too much caramel. I wish my grandkids were here because I would be doing this for them. We're going to let those set up a little bit, but I have extra caramel in here. So we are going to make good use of that. I have buttered and lined. And now we're going to just put a little bit of sea salt on the bottom. Tiny little bit of sea salt. So there's just a little bit of sea salt on the bottom. And we're just going to pour the rest of this caramel in. Now, well, it's still warm. There. Now, I want you, no, cameraman, come here for a second. I want you guys to see that I left a little lip up here. So after this is completely cooled, I'll be able to just pick it up ever so easily. Now, I want just a little bit more sea salt on the top. I have to be really careful with this part because I love salt. Oh my goodness. So I've got to be careful that I don't make it so strong that I'm the only one that could eat it. And oh, wouldn't that be a shame? So let these give a couple of minutes, let them cool down, let them set up, and then we will have our fabulous bite. Okay, they have all set up and it's time to enjoy. Now, now do you see the beauty of having buttered that parchment paper? Oh my goodness. Okay, typically this is the way we would eat it. My grandkids will tell you I hate sticky. So for me, this is the way I want to eat it. Just like this. Oh, yum. It's so good. And it's that envy apple is absolutely delicious in there. It really is. Now, If I was just gonna make it for cameraman and I, what I would do is I would cut wedges and then we would just dip them. But I think taffy apples are beautiful and they're wonderful, and I think you should try it. Now, shall we see what we did with our salted caramel? Gonna pull it up. And just cut it. It needs to set up more, okay? I was rushing this one. So, I don't care because I love salt and I love caramel. I can't talk because I got all stuck in my teeth, but it's really good. So if you like salt and you like caramel, do what I just did, but let it set up so it's harder. Taffy apples, caramel apples are the best. Now, whatever enhancements you choose to do, you can do sprinkles, you can do marshmallows, you can do nuts, you can do a combination of all of them and make them as grand as you choose to make them. But I'm kind of a purist, so I just kind of like them like that. So now that we are done and cameraman and I are just going to sit down and munch on some candy apples, I just want to wish you guys a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a really blessed evening. I hope you go ahead and make some treats so when you're watching television tonight, you can enjoy them just like we are going to do. So subscribe, hit the little bell, thumbs up, come back. Ingredients will be below, and they are ever so simple ingredients. Thank you for coming. Bye. This is good. I like